I think we are seeing an arms race. What we're not seeing is the kinds of efforts to reduce it that the Cold War actually produced. What's so striking about the recent news, which is America's decision to pull out of the INF Treaty earlier this month, is that it is, in some ways, the antithesis of the Cold War. It's very much the undoing of a Cold War accord, which was itself the product of several decades of Cold War negotiation. The decision to pull out really does reflect the fact that this is not a Cold War order, that there are more actors, and that the negotiations for limiting nuclear weapons are of necessity a lot more complex. It's not just a question of bilateral talks, two countries sitting down together, but to make the process really work, it would take an awful lot of multilateral negotiations. What the Russian state has said is that it is merely responding, that this is a reactive defensive measure, that in fact the US has itself been failing to live up to the treaty, partly by stationing missile defense systems in the European continent. There are now missiles in Romania and Poland, and Russia has seen itself under attack. This is part of a broader worldview of the current Russian regime, that it is hemmed in by global powers, and that its actions are purely reactive, purely responsive. I think this decision matters because it furthers this process of disintegrating cooperation, of falling trust between states, and what looks an awful lot like a pre-World War II era of muscular nationalism, of states choosing to defend themselves by taking matters into their own hands. And I think that's a concern for us in the US, a concern for us students and faculty at UVA, and really a concern for everyone around the world, because the stakes are astronomical. I certainly hope not. I have relatives in Russia who continue to watch a lot of Russian media, and every time I talk to them, they think war is imminent. And that's the talk in Russia, that's the talk in other parts of the world. I hope it's not true. I am a historian and not a soothsayer, so I certainly won't try to predict it. I think the odds of a war are certainly higher now than they have been in a long time.